Right now at 6, there's an Amber Alert out this morning for a missing 7-year-old girl in Temple. Take a look at your screen right here. Her name is Chrisley Hernandez. I want to get over to Meredith Haas, who is live this morning at Temple Police Headquarters.
And Meredith, you just received an update on this case. What is the latest?
Good morning. So if you are just waking up, you probably will see on your phone you received an Amber Alert overnight about the missing 7-year-old Temple girl. Her name is Chrisley Hernandez, and I just confirmed with police that it is her mother, Amanda Guerra, who is suspected to be the person who took her on Tuesday afternoon. Now, if you look at your screens, you can see Chrisley Hernandez. You can see what she looks like. Police say she is wearing a white t-shirt, shorts, and carrying a backpack. Now, it was around 11 a.m. that police say Chrisley was last seen entering a wooded area near the railroad tracks in the 3100 block of North 12th Street in Temple. She has since been reported missing as of Tuesday afternoon. With this woman you see on your screens, Amanda Guerra, she is described as a 39-year-old white female. Again, presumably her Chrisley's mother. In a press release, the Temple Police Department has conducted a, quote, intense air and land search after a resident of Hernandez's house arrived home to find a car parked there that they did not recognize. It was then around 4:30 p.m. Tuesday that they contacted police. Now, you are asked to contact the Bell County Crime Stoppers or the Temple Police if you see Chrisley, and it was surveillance footage that picked up this car that the family member did not recognize. Again, you are waking up now. You're going to see that Amber Alert about the missing 7-year-old girl, Chrisley Hernandez. She is missing from Temple, still missing this morning. I spoke with police officers, and they say that the search will continue as the sun rises. They will be out searching on foot and in the air for Chrisley Hernandez, who is still missing this morning. I'll have live updates coming up at 6:30. Live in Temple, I'm Meredith Haas. Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much for that report, Meredith. Anyone at home sees or know this little girl or that woman, her mother, please call police. We'll be sure to give you an update on the search for Chrisley in the next half hour. We also have information on our website, kcentv.com. Okay, well, now to the dangerous heat. Today could be the hottest day of the week. I'm staying home like I did yesterday.
Staying at home, blasting the AC.
Yes.
On our way home in the car. Definitely got my bottle of water here. Jesus, I just can't talk this morning. Meteorologist Jordan Frazier, tell us how hot it's going to be. Lay it on us. Lay the bad news on us.
Well, I put a big giant sun in the background just to emphasize that, but I want to show you about our high temperature outlook. So we're talking about the hottest temperatures of the week possibly happening today. Here's a good quick outlook of what we've been going through. Here are the max high temperatures recorded so far this year out of Waco, Temple, and Killeen. Most of this was actually set last week. All right, but here's where we're at from yesterday, which was also extremely hot outside, and here are the projected numbers for today. So we're actually getting quite close to where we could be at that hottest time of the week. It's probably not going to be the hottest time of the year unless Waco actually hits 101 by this afternoon. All right, as you're waking up, clear skies across the region. Southerly winds are trying to keep a lot of that cloud cover and that lower level fog out of the way, so we don't have to worry about that affecting our morning commute. 75 is what it is outside, and our actual feels like temperatures too. So starting to cool off just ever so slightly. 75 in Mexia, Fairfield, 77 for Centerville, 76 for Cameron as well as Killeen. But of course, over the next dozen hours, we're still looking at plenty of sunshine coming in and warming us up real fast. We're looking at 90 degrees by 11 o'clock and 100 by around 4 o'clock. So yeah, if you can stay indoors all day today, I don't blame you at all.
All right, Jordan, thank you so much. Well, we want to get to this. Right now, we have a 6 Fix update on a tenant who says they are living in dirty and just really dangerous conditions at a Temple apartment complex. The owners of that complex claim that they've made some progress, but the tenant that Sydney Deshawn caught up with says that could not be further from the truth.
The place just looks like a war zone. Actually, I've been to places that didn't look this bad. That was a war zone.
One veteran is fed up with the living conditions at the Brook Apartments in Temple.
I haven't been staying here because the unit it's unlivable. It's uninhabitable.
From fires to mold to AC problems, Rashawn Baton says he has had enough, so he came to 6 News to help push for change. But now Baton says he's getting backlash from the complex.
I got a notice 2 hours after the cast was telling me that it was notifying me that I had an unauthorized tenant living with me, which wasn't true.
Baton shared a message with us from Clearworth Residential in regards to his current status.
You do have to be out by June 30th, and that if you stay past that, you will be responsible for the rent.
Baton says he is not leaving and is taking matters into his own hands. He hired a mold assessment consultant to see if the unit is safe.
What we want to see is that the indoor air quality be equal to or better than the outside control. Depending on what type of mold and what levels will determine whether it's safe to be in the home.
He also contacted Lone Star Legal. They say the judge has the final say on whether or not the tenant has to move out.
Just because your landlord gives you a letter or tells you to move out or sends you a text to move out, that doesn't mean you have to. You could always challenge that in court to see if the landlord can prove their case.
I'm trying to do this fight because whether I'm a veteran or not, whether you're just a normal person, a normal American just trying to live and work and pay rent and pay your bills and stuff like that, you shouldn't have to deal with things like this in order to survive.
For 6 News, I'm Sydney Deshawn.
6:07 on this Wednesday morning. It is now time for the morning rush. This morning, a Waco man is sitting in the Bell County Jail accused of a May hit and run that killed a woman in Killeen. Police have charged 42-year-old Michael Sneed with an accident involving injury or death. It is believed the victim, Rasha Kendrick, was hit by 2 cars. The first car stopped while the second car did not. And we have learned suspended Itasca Superintendent Michael Stevens has bonded out of jail. 6 News confirmed the news with the Harris County Jail yesterday. Stevens is charged with online solicitation of a minor after inappropriate communication with someone he thought was a 15-year-old. He remains suspended with pay. And former Houston Texans quarterback Ryan Mallett has died of an apparent drowning. According to Florida investigators, Mallett was pulled unconscious from water in Destin. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. He was only 35 years old.
Well, this morning, an urgent warning from the CDC about malaria. That is the tropical disease transmitted by mosquitoes. It is showing up in the U.S. for the first time in 20 years. Kristen Dahlgren has what you need to know in order to stay safe.
Calling malaria a medical emergency, the CDC says the cases were hundreds of miles apart, 4 in Florida and 1 in Texas. No evidence to suggest they're related, but what they do have in common is no link to travel abroad. The last time malaria was transmitted locally in the U.S. was 2003. The CDC says mosquito surveillance and control have been implemented. Malaria isn't contagious, but the parasite that causes it is transmitted by certain mosquitoes.
Physicians are not going to be thinking about malaria in someone who has not traveled. If the fevers persist and if they can't find another cause, it should be considered.
Fever, chills, headaches, and fatigue are the most common symptoms. The recent cases were Plasmodium vivax, the less severe form. And while the CDC considers the risk of locally transmitted malaria low in the U.S., it warns of increased danger with the rise in international travel this summer. And many doctors worry climate change could make things worse.
The warm temperatures are important for the mosquito population and will give rise to a larger population.
The CDC urging a plan for rapid access to IV artesunate, the first-line treatment for severe malaria, and limiting mosquito bites by covering up, using repellent, and draining standing water, which serves as breeding grounds. The latest patients all reportedly recovering, the CDC wanting everyone from physicians to the public to pay attention. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News.
Coming up, these warm temperatures are staying warm, but good news. I actually have a bit of a cool down. Your full forecast with all the details coming up.
Thank you, Jordan. Well, be sure to grab some sunscreen before heading out today. But should you use spray sunscreen or lotion? Well, Brandon Lewis, he has the answer in our Verify.
Plus, Wheel of Fortune has a new host, and it's a face that we are sure you will recognize. The exciting new era of the game show, Texas Today, continues in just a few minutes.